In this video we are going to talk about top 10 most unusual weird taxes, so before starting this video please like this video and subscribe to our channel for future updates. According to Benjamin Franklin, only two things are certain in life: death and taxes. This is very true. In fact, Franklin probably underestimated how certain taxes are. Obviously, governments will tax anything to raise money. By anything, we mean they will tax your dog, hat, beard, and windows if they have the chance. All these things and many more have been taxed throughout history. Let's start. Number 10. Dogs. Man's best friend was not saved from man's weirdest taxes. Between 1797 and 1798, Scotland introduced a fixed tax of 5 shillings on all non-working dogs. The tax caused a controversy soon after it was introduced. People against the tax complained that dogs were being considered objects and not living creatures. Number 9. Beards. The first beard tax was introduced by King Henry VIII of England in 1535. King Henry VIII had nothing against beards, and he didn't really need the money. In fact, he kept a beard himself. He was only interested in turning beards into status symbols. The amount to be paid was dependent on the status of the bearded person. The higher the status, the larger the tax. King Henry VIII later abandoned his beard tax, but Queen Elizabeth I reintroduced it when she became queen. Number 8. Clocks. In July 1797, the British government passed an act requiring everyone to pay a special tax on their clocks and watches. Clocks were taxed at a flat rate of 5 shillings, gold watches were taxed at 10 shillings, and other watches were taxed at 2 shillings and 6 pence. Any clock that cost below £1 was excluded from the tax. The tax was very unpopular. Number 7. Chinese. Canada used to have a special tax for Chinese immigrants. The tax was included as part of the Chinese Immigration Act of 1885 that initially imposed a tax of $50 on every Chinese citizen coming into Canada. The act was part of the anti-Chinese sentiment that was building up in Canada at the time. Number 6. Fireplaces. Between 1662 and 1689, a special tax was imposed on all fireplaces in England and Wales. Each fireplace was taxed at 1 shilling for 6 months. The tax was introduced to cover the £1,200,000 annual expenses of the royal family led by King Charles II. Number 5. Windows. The window tax was one of the weirdest and most hated taxes in England. Introduced in 1696, it was initially payable only by landlords of houses with 10 or more windows. While the exemption was intended to protect the poor, it only helped the poor who lived in personal small houses in the villages. The poor in the cities lived in big rented apartment buildings with more than 10 windows. The landlords paid the taxes on the windows and increased rents in response. Number 4. Salt. For centuries, salt was taxed in France until the infamous French Revolution. The salt tax, called the gabelle, was even one of the causes of the revolution. The tax was introduced in 1295 and originally included wine and wheat. France was split into 30 regions where special salt tax collectors determined the tax rates. They also operated warehouses where salt was stored and sold. Number 3. Hair powder. In 1795, the government of England was being creative on how to raise money to finance the war against France, so it introduced a tax on hair powder. The government demanded that everyone who used hair powder pay a special tax of £1.05 a year. While the amount looks negligible, it is £127 in 2017 money. Some people were exempted from paying the tax. Number 2. Bricks. Britain was in need of funds after losing the Revolutionary War. In British fashion, they turned to taxation. This time, it was bricks. The brick tax, which also covered tiles, was introduced in 1784. Number 1. Hats. Britain introduced a tax on hats in 1784. Every hatmaker within London paid £2 a year, while hatmakers outside London paid £5. These hatmakers were required to have the statement dealer in hats by retail above their doors so that the taxman would easily recognize their shops. So this is our today's video. If you like my video, don't forget to subscribe my channel or hit the bell icon. We will meet again with another interesting topic. Till then, stay safe and stay happy.